We attacked at Okinawa at Sugarloaf, and that's where I got hit by a shell, blew up alongside of me and my assistant. I'm Walter Lasota, 6th Marine Division, 22nd Regiment, Item Company. Semper Fi, once a Marine, always a Marine. I was born in Scranton, lived in Syracuse, lived in Conshohocken, spent 72 years with my wife in Reading, and here I am. I had a pretty rough life early. My mother passed away when I was only 7, but Dad kept us all together. I came up through the bad years, which were the Depression years when nobody had anything really. But we managed, and Dad kept us all in one house together. My grandfather built the house that I spent part of my life in. Him and his son built the house, a red brick home in Conshohocken, and that's where we lived. We all lived there. We were only about half a block away from Grandpop's house, so we were a pretty close-knit family. I went to school for 8 years to a Catholic school, to St. Mary's in Conshohocken, and then I went to Conshohocken High School, and then I left school, and I got myself a job. I think it was radio I heard it on. Pearl Harbor was attacked, and I just waited because Dad wouldn't sign for me to go in the Marine Corps. So I had to wait until my draft number came up. And when I came up and I got into the Marine Corps, I went to the draft board. There was probably about 40, 50 of us. They separated. Certain people wanted to go in the Army, some wanted to go to the Navy, and I wanted to go in the Marine Corps. The guy said, I don't know if I get you in there or not. He said, but we'll try. So they managed to get me in the quota. I went to Parris Island. Was down there for 3 months. Left there, was assigned to Boston Navy Yard to be a guard at the guard gates. And from there I was moved over to Squantum Naval Air Station. Then from there was transferred to Quantico, Virginia. And from there, a long train ride to California. And then I got aboard the USS Seabass and headed for Guadalcanal. And then that's where I stayed with training in Guadalcanal. And then, of course, the other islands were being taken one by one while we were there. And then they finally decided, well, no, they took the 3rd, 4th, and 5th Marine Division. There's the ones that landed on Iwo. And we were prepared ourselves, so we got ready to board our LSTs to go to Okinawa. We didn't know where we were going. They didn't tell us where we were going at the time. But that's where we ended up at. The 2nd Marine Division and the 6th Marine Division that invaded. 2nd Marine Division sort of played decoy for us to make the attack. We attacked it from one beach, and then they attacked on the southern part of the beaches, so we were in the northern section. We were up there for, I don't know, not quite a month, I guess, maybe a month. So we didn't have too much trouble till we start going north a little bit, though we run into some resistance. And then Nimitz wasn't happy with the way things were going in the southern part, so he's pulled us out of the north and pushed another Army division up in the north and had put us right in Naha, which is the biggest city in Okinawa at the time. And there we sat till we got to our place that off the hill, look at the city. Wasn't much left there. Everything was destroyed. And then we stayed there till they decided we got to take this Sugarloaf Hill, which is a man-made hill, actually. The Japanese would dig and pile up dirt and dig another hole and pile up some more dirt. They had tunnels running from one end of the island to the other. We attacked at Okinawa at Sugarloaf, and that's where I got hit by a shell. Blew up alongside of me and my assistant. He used to carry the extra ammo I needed from my Browning automatic. And to this day, I don't know what happened to him. All I know is I got blown out of the hole and sort of under the slope, and I slid down the hill. And I laid there. I tried to get up. I couldn't get up on my feet. But two Marines came over and they said, "What's wrong?" I said, "I can't stand up." So they said, "Grab a hold." They put my arms around their necks, and they carried me back. Whatever happened to my sidekick to this day, I don't know. I don't know whether that shell killed him or not, but if it didn't, I hope he did kill him, because if the Japanese would have got him, they would have tortured the hell out of him. I've seen too much of the Japanese torturing prisoners that they got a hold of. They didn't. They had no mercy for anybody. But I've seen where soldiers were manipulated with their arms twisted and stuff, where they done it to. I seen it to some reporters that were really, really butchered up when we were near Naha. Some sort of reporters got mixed up somehow and got fouled up within the Japanese quarters, and when we found them, they were just a mess. But there was nothing we could do about that. Some of their soldiers gave up, very few. Most would rather die for their emperor than to give up their life to somebody. But there was a few that would surrender to us, so those were held in captivity until after the war. What we call field strip them. If somebody would take this off them, take that off, we take some badges off them. We pick them up as souvenirs for ourselves, and that's how I happen to have what I have, because I took one flag that I have. I just took off of a building that was there. Evidently somebody had tried to use the flag as a Band-Aid for a wound or something, because it had blood on it yet. Still stains of blood in it. Battle of Okinawa, where I got 2 Purple Hearts. I got one from being blown up with the shell, which hit my legs and back. Because I had shrapnel in my back and my legs. And then I was in the hospital for, I guess, maybe a month till I got well healed and patched up. And then I met up with my old outfit, which were all strangers. I mean, it wasn't one of our old men there anymore. I stayed with them as we were going towards Naha, moving in. We didn't get to Naha. I was way back. We were just fighting our way up slowly. We were not too much. Every once in a while, we'd run across some resistance, but it didn't last long. And then as we got closer to Naha, we were heading further south, and there was a bunch of new people with us, replacements. They were getting into a group, and I start waving it to get them to separate a little bit. And then one guy hollered, he said, "You better watch." He said, "That sniper's going to get you." I said, about that time, I said, "Oh, he can't hit me." And about time he showed me he could hit me. He only missed my head. He hit my hand and was above. And I thought there wasn't much to it. I just went back to the corpsman and I rolled up the sleeve. I says, just scatter. And as he done it, when he turned my hand, everything from my elbow down was dead. I had no feeling in the fingers or nothing. Here the bullet went in and came out the other side. It didn't hit the bone, but they had to cut it open and restitch everything in there. The sword on the door was a hill that we approached, and as you went up the slope, there was 2 sides alongside of it, that you could go from the left to the right, and you go down in a hole, and then into the door. And on the door was his sword was hanging. And the one guy said, "I'm going to get that sword." I said, "No, you're not." He says, "You don't get that sword." He said, "You're not going down there." I said, "Get the flamethrower guy up here. We'll see what happens." So the flamethrower man came up, and he said, "Okay, stay back." He says, "I'll shoot a shot of flame down inside the door." So when he done that, not long was a minute when that hill blew. It just felt like the whole thing picked up and dropped again. And there was no visible sign of the sword then. Everything was buried. I said to the guy, I said, "See what I was telling you? You would have moved that sword, that would have been the end of you, because that was booby-trapped at the door and it was ready to go off." So the flame was enough to set the ammo off, and the whole earth shook at one time. I was at the southern end of Okinawa from April 1st to sometime the early part of June when they finally ceased fire, but the Marine general got killed there that day. They figured the war was over, the island secured. They're not expecting the sniper to be laying. I walked over to him and I asked him, I said, "Where's my group?" He just pointed to me. He says, "I think that's your outfit over there." He wasn't sure, but he says, "I think that's where you're at." So I thanked him and I saluted him and I walked away. And I heard a crack. And I could tell it was a rifle. And by the time I turned on, I run and grabbed this general. Here he was picked off by a sniper, and he got killed. We finally got back to Guam, and our captain at Guam called the 8 of us. We were the 8 that was left from the original company. Our original company was probably 200 some odd men, and we were the only ones who survived. We got back to Guam, and the captain called, had us 8 come down to his tent, and he says, "Gentlemen, you're the only 8 guys I got left. You don't do nothing unless I call." And he says, "When I call, I expect to see 8 bodies down here." Oh, and he said, "By the way," he says, "he's all made private first class." But from Okinawa, I went to Guam. I stayed on Guam for a while, then got aboard a DE, it's a destroyer escort. I was headed back to the scrapyards in San Diego. They put us on that ship, which was 33 of us. We filled out the rest of the Navy crew that was missing from there to go home, and that's how we got home. We ended up stopped over in Hawaii for about 12 hours. Couldn't wait to get home, but left California, got aboard a train coming east, and I was sitting in the coach, and the conductor said to me, he says, "How come you sit up here?" I said, "Well, that's what my ticket costs for." He said, No. He takes me and he says, "Here, you stay here, you sleep here." So he put me in this sleeping car. And that's where I slept till I got to Harrisburg. In Harrisburg, I got a train to go to Philly. And then from Philly, I got a bus to come to Conshohocken. I spent 35 years working for American District Telegraph Company. Retired from there. Then I went to work for From Electric first. Then from I went to Schneck Electric, and then I went down and took a job as head custodian at the Botec East, and that's where I stayed until I hit retirement at 62, and then I left and retired. So that's basically the whole story. Put it this way, it's something I would never want to go through again, but what I did go through was a good experience in life. I survived, so here I am at 97, still kicking.